everybody has problems. Even you.
Stupid president, and you men are brave, but they have used our military.
President Donald Trump is many things. Stubborn, for sure, outspoken, definitely, and defiant, without a doubt. But patient? That's one word you would not associate with Donald Trump. And that's also one thing that you need in diplomacy. You have to be patient. Trump was always in a hurry to end the war in Ukraine. He promised to end the fighting on day one in office. More than 2 months have passed, and all we have is a broken truce. This is clearly frustrating the US president. He unloaded on Russian President Putin yesterday. He said he was very angry and pissed off. Listen in.
You could say that I was very angry, pissed off, when Putin started getting into Zelensky's credibility, because that's not going in the right location.
This is sharp criticism from Trump, sharp and rare. He's called Zelensky all sorts of things. But he's generally been respectful of President Putin. So what triggered this outburst? Perhaps Putin's remarks last week. The Russian president was in Murmansk last week. He said two controversial things. Number one, he questioned Trump's claims on Greenland. And number two, he questioned Zelensky's credibility. Putin proposed an election to replace the Ukrainian regime. Listen to this.
It would be possible, under the auspices of the UN, with the United States, even with European countries, and of course with our partners and friends, to discuss the possibility of introducing temporary administration in Ukraine. For what? In order to hold democratic elections, in order to bring to power a viable government that enjoys the people's trust, and then begin negotiations with it on a peace treaty.
This seems to have riled up Trump. He too had called for Zelensky to be replaced, but now he's made a U-turn. Trump has made a U-turn. He says Putin will have to strike a deal with Zelensky whether he likes him or not. And that's the thing with Donald Trump. You really don't know where his loyalties lie, because in the same breath, he also lashed out at Zelensky. He said he's trying to back out of a minerals deal.
I think he wants to make a deal. And I think Zelensky, by the way, I see he's trying to back out of the rare earth deal. And if he does that, he's got some problems, big problems. We made a deal with rare earth, and now he's saying, well, you know, I want to renegotiate the deal. He wants to be a member of NATO. Well, he was never going to be a member of NATO. He understands that. So if he's looking to renegotiate the deal, he's got big problems.
So Trump is clearly frustrated, both with Zelensky and with Putin. Maybe he was expecting to make quick progress in the talks. Clearly, that's not happening. Trump's team met the Russians on the 18th of February. Both sides agreed to end the fighting. Later on, Trump secured two partial ceasefires. The first one was on energy infrastructure, which both sides have violated. Russia and Ukraine, they violated this one. And the second one is in the Black Sea, which was already devoid of any military action. So both these ceasefires were largely symbolic. They lacked a roadmap to settle this conflict once and for all. And it's not a good look for President Trump. He takes a lot of pride in his negotiating skills. In fact, his book is called The Art of the Deal. But right now, he's on the receiving end of what? A negotiating masterclass by Vladimir Putin. Let's take a look at the last 2 months. The Russian president made two crucial moves in this time. One, he forced Trump to reveal his hand, and two, he played for time. Putin was among the first leaders to congratulate Trump last year. He also spoke on the phone to Trump and readily agreed to end the war in Ukraine. Putin agreed, and the result was this. Putin put the ball in Zelensky's court. After that, it was all about waiting. When Zelensky refused to talk, Trump piled the pressure on him, and in the process, he also revealed his hand. Trump ruled out NATO membership for Ukraine. He briefly cut off military aid to Ukraine, and he called Zelensky a dictator. And then he openly admitted that Russia has all the cards. It must have been music to Putin's ears because it revealed Trump's limits and red lines. So that is the first move. Putin forced Trump to reveal his hand. Now to the second move. You cannot just randomly talk about peace. You must back it up with actions. In Putin's case, he came up with symbolic actions. First, the energy truce, then the Black Sea truce. Both gave the impression of progress, though in reality they meant very little. They bought more time for Russian troops on the battlefield. And last week, Putin made that clear. He says Russia has claimed the initiative along the entire front line, and he plans to finish off Ukraine.
What is happening today is essentially also clear. Our troops have the strategic initiative along the entire line of combat contact. I said quite recently that we would get the best of them, but there is reason to believe that we will finish them off.
This strategy is still being employed. Moscow is talking about another Trump-Putin phone call. They've also started talks on rare earths. You heard that right. Even Russia wants to sell natural resources to the US. And once again, it's the same tactic. When the pressure mounts, give Donald Trump a symbolic victory, like a partial truce or a rare earth deal. The question is, what is the end goal here? What happens next? Well, that depends on Trump. If he loses interest, it is advantage Putin. If he abandons Ukraine, it's again advantage Putin. And if he piles pressure on Russia, it's the same as before. Moscow has withstood thousands of sanctions since the war began. I'm sure they can survive a few more. I guess Trump is getting a taste of real world diplomacy here. He's not mediating between Israel and Arab powers. He is talking to the largest nuclear power in the world. Threats and ultimatums will not work.
Greeting you with aloha and namaste.
No, I love India.
Presence, occupation of a territory by another country pertains to India, what we saw in Kashmir.
How do you see Trump's America?
Yes, the current administration behaves differently from the previous administration.
Are you saying that there are foreign powers who are trying to bring down the current government in Syria?
Exactly.
Iran, maybe Russia too.
Prime Minister Modi committed to South-South, cooperation.
Not over 50%.
Is Ukraine prepared to pay the price for that peace?
No compromises at the cost of territorial integrity and sovereignty.